One of you reached out to me on Twitter and said, will Texas have a top 25 offense and defense? And what does that mean for Texas? So, went to the numbers a season ago, and if you want to look at just scoring offensively and defensively, they actually had top 25 in both those categories. Texas scored 35 a game, good for number 20 in the country. The defense allowed 22 points a game, good for number 21 in the country. So what does it mean from those numbers? I think it means they're very capable. And we knew they were capable because if you are a Texas Longhorn fan, you know that talent has never been the issue why you haven't won in Austin. Maybe there's been issues in terms of talent at specific positions, whether it be in the trenches or other parts of your defense. But to be real, talent hasn't been what's held you back. It hasn't been a personnel issue in Austin. And I think the encouraging thing is, okay, the talent made good on some of their, projections this past season. Again, to be top 25 in the country in both those categories, offensively and defensively, that's a complete football team. That's not a matter of do you have it under the hood in Austin. And we never questioned it here. You never questioned it there. But here's the thing. That talent and those numbers, they are an encouraging sign, but they don't tell you the whole story with what Texas was a season ago. Could you say, okay, we scored 35 a game and averaged holding teams to 22 a game. Why didn't we win what we wanted to win? Why didn't we have a 10-plus win season? Why didn't we win the Big 12? Well, I think you got to look back to the immaturity. Whether you want to talk about culture, you want to talk about the guys you had on the field. You played a lot of underclassmen last year, especially on offense. I mean, Quinn Ewers was his first year in the saddle. A lot of guys outside Bijan Robinson, they were underclassmen on the offensive side of the ball. And maturity is something that's hard to make up for when it comes to game experience, right? Like, it's hard for me to get you ready to expect what a college football game is going to ask of you. Now, this coming season, they should be in better shape there. We'll talk about that more in a second. But it wasn't like Texas was a bad team a year ago. In fact, the numbers indicate the opposite. But your standards are high in Austin because of what you invest into your team. From a resources perspective, from how well you recruit, you expect to do more at Texas than what you've done in the past. Now, going into year 3 under Steve Sarkisian, got their work cut out for them. And a lot of people would tell you, hey, this has to be the year for Texas. And the year can mean a lot of things. I believe the year means you have to win double-digit games, play for a Big 12 title. You don't got to win it, but you got to play for it because there's so much around them that's in place to where that's very much so realistic. You've built the culture now to be competitive. You got the quarterback now in his second year. You got a lot of guys that now have some maturity, have some experience under their belt. This needs to be, I believe, one of the years, if that makes sense. You've built to this now. Year 3 for Sark. Can we get some more ROI? The numbers are encouraging. But again, they don't tell the whole story. We'll talk more about this in a second. Make sure you're subscribed. I'm not going to ask too much more than that. Thank you. Also, follow me on Instagram. Follow me on Twitter, @JDPakel. We appreciate you for that. Okay, so why didn't you accomplish what you wanted to accomplish seasons ago? Let's go back to that conversation. To me, it goes back to inconsistency. And a lot of y'all in the Twitter sphere have said the same thing to me when I asked you, what do you want to see from Texas or what concerns you about Texas or whatever it may be. Week in and week out, you weren't sure what you were going to get, right? I mean, one week the offense scores 34 against Kansas State. The next week they score 10 against TCU. Like, there has to be a consistent theme with this team that's going to dictate terms to the opposition. And I understand football is a game of matchups. Like, trust me, I understand that. I get it. But week in and week out, we just saw a different team from Texas execution-wise. One game, Quinn Ewers is lighting it up. The next game, he's got 30 incompletions against Oklahoma State. And I know there was a lot of wind. I know there was rumors about his health in that game and what was going on with his hand. Like, I understand all that. But I need you to be consistent because everybody's dealing with the same external factors. Everybody's banged up. Everybody's dealing with the wind. Everybody's dealing with, X, Y, and Z external circumstance. Can Texas focus on the internal and be better from an execution standpoint? Can you be consistent? Can you close out games? I mean, what is Texas's record if they are able to just close out some of those second half games? Probably at least a 9-10 win football team, right? That's the next step. The consistency. Week in and week out, we decide from an execution standpoint, we're going to get it done. No ifs, no ands, no maybes, no buts. And hand in hand with that execution and that consistency, like we talked about a second ago, it's maturity. And maturity from an on-field perspective, we've talked about it's going to be improved. But I think the thing to look at is maturity from a culture standpoint. Goes back to what I was just saying. A mature culture doesn't worry about the external. You're not worried about the weather. You're not worried about who's healthy, who's not. It is okay, hey, he's down. We need you to step up. Hey, we're not able to run the ball as well today. We got to throw it. Receivers, we got to have you go make some plays. Hey, defense, this is what we need from you today. The offense is having trouble getting going. You need to step up and you need to be able to hold your water for the rest of this half till we figure things out. We saw glimpses of that from Texas last year, but with this culture taking the next step, hopefully, you would hope that maybe you're able to improve upon that. And the most encouraging report that I've gotten from our people at Inside Texas, our Texas on 3 site, a lot of the conversation is around detail-oriented during spring practice. Reason why I'm encouraged by this and the reason why this, I think, says good things about the culture in Austin, strong cultures care about the little things. Like everybody's worried about the big things, right? Everybody's worried about winning games. Everybody's worried about the results. That's great. That's what you should worry about. That's what you're judged on. But I would say before you worry about those, worry about what you can control. You can control the details. You can control where you line up at. You can control your technique. You can control how hard you go during practice. Those are the things that they're honing in on. The details, because the details add up to making the difference in the results. Not to be overly philosophical, but I don't know that's been the focus at Texas, and they've really honed in on that during spring practice. Hand in hand with that is accountability. I'm accountable to you, my teammate, to give my all, to be on time, to be detail-oriented, to line up in the right place, to not false start on 4th and 1 and allow us to pick up that first down. That's the next step for Texas. And again, that goes hand in hand with consistency and maturity. Those are culture things. Those are things that the great teams, the teams that go and win conference titles and make the college football playoff, those are things that they major in. Will that be Texas? They've got a lot of talent. I would argue they have talent at a lot of the key spots you need it at. Quarterback, wide receiver, some spots on defense. T'Vondre Sweat's going to be a guy this year on the defensive line. Like, the cupboard isn't bare at Texas. Can the culture, same song, third verse it feels like, can the culture propel them forward and allow them to maximize that talent that they have on the roster? I'm excited to see it. But in terms of that question of if they have a top 25 offense or defense, what would it mean? It would just validate what we already saw a season ago. They were top 25 in both categories, again, from a points per game perspective. It's there. It's all there under the hood. The question is for Texas, how far will you allow yourself to take it? All right? I'm excited to watch it, though. I promise you, this is going to be a real good time this fall to watch how the Big 12 unfolds. Should be an absolute dogfight. We'll keep you in the know for all things college football every single day, as we always do. Get at me on Twitter, man. Got this tweet posted on my page, at JD Piquel. You can find it. Hit me with your question. Odds are we'll respond and we'll do a video on it, or we'll answer it during the live show. Regardless, we appreciate y'all. We love y'all, man. We're going to keep this party rolling, and we will see y'all next time. Hey, y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also, be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.